Hello, this is a global news bulletin on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. EU leaders continue to discuss the future of the European defence and support for Ukraine at the summit in Brussels. We're now joined by our correspondent, Kazimierz Wyszak. Kazimierz, you're on the ground there. Give us a bit of a rundown, a sense of what has happened there so far today.
Good afternoon, Sasha. Well, so far we've had the EU leaders giving some statements on the doorsteps, and now they are discussing, like you said, the future of European defense and support for Ukraine. These discussions will be taking place for the next several hours, as there is a lot to discuss. First of all, we had the white paper on defense unveiled yesterday by the European Commission, a long-awaited document on the future of European defense. And one big question on everyone's minds was whether there would be anything new shown by the European Commission in this white paper other than the Rearm Europe plan, a plan proposed recently by the European Commission, which could free up to 800 billion euro for European defense. And the answer is not really. We didn't really get much new from this white paper on defense, apart from some minor details. But what we did get is a strong resolution of the EU to continue to boost its defense spending and to do it in a more unified approach. This unity is something that we haven't really seen in decades in the EU when it comes to defense. Now, with the recent things happening around Ukraine, the peace talks, the rather blunt approach of US President Donald Trump, we are seeing a huge change in the EU when it comes to that approach. Now, once again, we've had some lack of unanimity when it comes to the resolution on supporting Ukraine. This is because of Hungary. Hungary once again refused to sign the conclusions of the summit on the support for Ukraine. We've also had Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy joining the EU leaders through a video call. And there he rather bluntly said that the EU needs to find this unanimity and the way forward without the vetoes and protests of Hungary. The EU leaders definitely are not happy with the way that Hungary has been opposing any sort of moves when it comes to supporting Ukraine. However, when it comes to other countries, there has always been a bit of a divide between European nations when it comes to defense spending. And this is mostly because of the fact that, for example, countries like Spain or Italy are far away from countries such as Russia and from the war right now. But we can see that there is a wind of change, that even these countries which are far away from the war are already speaking in a different way when it comes to defense spending. Let's listen to some of the words from the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez.
And of course, we're very committed not only to increase our defense expenditure, but also to have this angle of security, because as I always share with my colleagues around the table in the European Council, it is important to take into account that the challenges that we face in the southern neighborhood are a bit different to the ones that the eastern flank face. And this means that we need to strengthen our border controls. This means that we need to strengthen our capabilities to fight against terrorism. This means that we need to strengthen also our capability when it comes to cyber attacks and these hybrid attacks.
So there you go. The EU countries are already moving forward when it comes to more unified defense spending. And let's break down a little bit of that Rearm Europe plan and what is actually new in the white paper on defense. The Rearm Europe plan can free up, like I said, up to 800 billion euro, and part of that, 150 billion, would be through loans on defense that the EU countries could spend quickly on boosting the defense. This now has a name. It's called SAFE, a Security Action for Europe. This mechanism is something that the EU member states are definitely looking forward to. Some members of the European Parliament from Poland already said that the Polish government will definitely be looking to use that SAFE instrument. And the rest, 650 billion euro, could be freed thanks to the exclusion of defense expenditure from the excessive deficit procedure. And what exactly does it mean? That means that the EU member states can spend more on defense without worrying about EU regulations, which are there to help them have a sustainable budget and less debt. So in these ways, the EU wants to strengthen its defense. The details, we will see more details, we will see throughout the months as the European Commission will be preparing specific projects for defense. Later in the day, we're going to have some press conferences from the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks for that comprehensive update there. I know there's going to be much more on defense. We'll check in with you later there. That was Kazimierz Wyszak, our correspondent there in Brussels. Thank you so much. U.S. and Ukrainian negotiation teams will meet in Saudi Arabia on Monday for another round of talks on a possible peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelenskyy announced this during his visit to Norway on Thursday.
God willing, the teams will agree. There will be technical teams present there. I understand that the structure is the following. There will be a meeting of Ukraine and America, and then some shuttle diplomacy, as our American colleagues said. America with Russia, or it will be some meetings in parallel.
If there is a deal between Russia and Ukraine, our plan for maintaining peace must come before it, not after. Those are the words, according to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer during a visit to a nuclear submarine facility on Thursday. Now, his remarks came as Britain hosts dozens of military chiefs from various countries for a meeting on safeguarding a potential ceasefire in Ukraine.
What we now need to do is turn that political momentum into operational plan. So we're going from the sort of concept to the plan. And so today we're looking at plans to keep the sea, the sky and borders safe in Ukraine, working with the Ukrainians, because I'm clear in my mind that if there is a deal, and I hope there is, that we need to do the planning beforehand, not after the deal, which is why I'm pleased that we're able to get to this stage today.
Authorities are investigating the cause of a fire at the Global Expo Conference Center in the Polish capital, Warsaw. The blaze broke out shortly before noon on Thursday morning, sending thick plumes of smoke into the sky. 7 firefighter crews were dispatched to battle the flames, which emergency responders say are now under control and not expected to spread further. The cause of the blaze remains unknown. At the same time, the fire at the conference center was empty with no events scheduled. Now, the blaze comes as countries across Europe have battled hybrid attacks from Russia, many assuming the form of arson. The Polish parliament has signed into law a bill bolstering Poland's defense capabilities. This initiative includes the construction of Poland's East Shield project, aimed at securing NATO's and the EU's eastern border. The bill was supported by 220 votes and opposed by 171. The law also supports a resolution of the European Parliament calling on member states to up their defense spending. The East Shield is perceived as the EU's flagship defense project, with Polish MPs underlining its importance during the vote. That's all for this news bulletin. We'll be back at the top of the hour for more, but stay tuned right here on TVP World. Goodbye.